Chapter 26. Despite Alex's assertion to the contrary, the food he had ordered for the team at dinner tonight had been delicious. He had gotten some sort of stew that hailed from Ansar, a thick brown gravy smothered all over chunks of tender meat and cooked down with vegetables. Emily patted her stomach. She had enjoyed every morsel of it. Danielle, not so much. In addition to being tasty, the food invigorated Emily. Her mind seemed to open up, and her body felt nourished. Surely now she could fly at her best. Okay, Emily, you can do this. She took a deep breath and placed her hands on the simulator's wheel. The simulator room had been abandoned at this time of night, so she had her pick of any machine she wanted. She studied each one, running around each machine to get a view of it from all sides, before settling on this one, the most technologically advanced simulator in the building. According to all reports, this one mimicked flying in space exactly. No input delays, no latency, no extra bulk. As smooth and maneuverable as butter. Of course, she didn't know how well butter maneuvered, so... Stop! Focus! Emily shook her head. You're a good pilot, Emily. You got a near-perfect score on your entrance exam. You were top of your class. She gripped the wheel in her hands. Let's go! She hit the button to start the simulation she had been working on with Tajay that afternoon. Alex said not to do the same simulation over and over, but Emily wanted to try something familiar. Once she got this mission down, she'd try something else. Mission Start appeared on her screen. Emily set her eyes on the controls and readouts as the planet's surface loaded onto the view screen in front of her. The simulator rumbled underneath her to mimic the feel of a real ship's engine. Emily smiled. Imagine the feel of a real engine, the freedom of space. Goosebumps rose on her skin. She couldn't wait to feel it for real. To know nothing except a thin piece of metal and glass separated her from the wonders of space. Space Tower, this is SS Cruiser, requesting permission to leave the atmosphere, Emily said into her headset. A pre-recorded voice said, Cruiser, you are cleared for takeoff. Emily took the machine in her hands. She guided the ship off the spaceport's runway and into the air. She accelerated and burst through the clouds and out of the atmosphere, where she settled into the planet's orbit. A flawless liftoff, as always. So far, so good. Emily adjusted her instruments. Time to leave orbit. She glided the ship to the path she had already set out. According to the mission specs, she had to go to the next planet's moon, allow her team to pick up a sample, and return. Easy enough, except she had set the simulator to hard mode as per Alex's instructions. Anything could happen. Emily clapped her eyes on the screen. Meteors, random space junk, solar flares, anything could mess with her mission. She had to stay alert, vigilant. But so far, nothing happened. Drive engines will be engaged in 3, 2, 1. Emily hit the button. The engines revved. The ship shot forward into drive space. Emily smiled. Everything went perfectly. Maybe this time she could log a successful mission on her first try. A bang shot through the air. The simulator jolted, and the drive engines whined down. Huh? Emily glanced at the readouts. Engine malfunction? Really? She set her teeth. Problem, but not a terrible one. The momentum of her ship would take her to her destination, and the auto brake would stop her before she reached the moon. Once there, she and the technical specialist would attempt to repair the engines. In the event the engines couldn't be repaired, Emily could use the moon's gravity to slingshot towards home. Then she'd send an SOS to the planet's space tower with their trajectory. They'd rescue them in no time. Simple. Emily wrapped her fingers on the console. The auto brake engaged just as Emily predicted. Her ship came out of drive space and coasted toward the moon. Emily used the steering engines to guide the ship to the correct position to use the moon's gravity to slingshot home. She smirked to herself as she made the preparations. If this happened in real life, Alex would be barking orders in her ear. Danielle would be yelling that they needed time to fix the engines. Tajay would be standing silently nearby. The cockpit would be filled with noise and yelling. It would be pandemonium. She snickered. Simulators had nothing on real life. An alarm blared. Red lights flashed all over the cockpit. Proximity alert. Emily checked all her readouts. Then she saw it. A meteor had gotten caught in the moon's gravity and hurtled toward them. Emily rolled the ship to the side, enough to avoid the asteroid, but not enough to... Another alarm blasted. What? Emily glanced at all her readouts. The moon's gravity pulled the ship, yanking it towards the surface. She pushed on the wheel. I didn't roll that far, starboard. The moon's gravity encapsulated the ship. It plummeted to the surface and exploded in a fiery ball. Mission failed, emblazoned the screen. Emily slammed her hand on the console. I didn't get this! The stupid simulators don't control like I expect them to at all! She halted when Alex's words came back to her. In space, anything can happen, he had said. That is not an excuse. Emily let her hands drop to her side. Maybe the problem didn't lie with the simulators at all. Maybe the problem was her.